Cheers, VCers. Thanks for dropping in. Tony here. I have a little bit of my what I did last night segment. This will be a quick one. I'll talk a little bit about the records. I'll talk about the pressings. And in this segment, I'm going to play them in the order that I'm going to show in the order that I played, because I think, that has some relevance to it, because I'm trying to build, like a complete symphony, if I may, of what I hear. And a lot of these records, I'll pull one record while I'm listening to it. I'll say, okay, that will complement this record, and the third and fourth, and that's how I do it. And that's how I did this set. So here it is. If you could see that. We have Bitches Brew. We have a EP with Brian May and Eddie Van Halen. We have a couple of Blue Oyster Cults that I haven't played in a while. A BLT, which is Robin Trower and Jack Bruce. And we have a Sinatra and Basie. So we're covering a lot of bases here. So let's get to it. And once again, thanks for all the subscriptions. Thanks for stopping by and liking. If you're a new viewer, or if you're a regular who haven't been able to subscribe, please do so. It really helps us out. I really appreciate it. Just having some coffee today. I'm going to run some errands. There's a lot of trouble in the world. And it's unfortunate. I'm not going to get into the politics of everything, but it's real sad. Music is a healer. And even in times of trouble, we tend to go to our stereos or iPods or whatever turns you on, and listen to music, and hopefully it'll cheer some of us up or make things a little better for that little brief time. But here we go. First record up is a stereo OG pressing, Reprise, Count Basie, Frank Sinatra. It might as well be swing. This is conducted and arranged by Quincy Jones, who Sinatra worked with a few times, especially in the live album. Sinatra was the first one to dub Quincy Jones as Q. He liked to give nicknames to Q. And here you could see Frank and Splank. They used to call Count Basie Splank, as the piano Splank that he's famous for. But this has Fly Me to the Moon, The Good Life, which is a Tony Bennett staple, but Sinatra does a fabulous job. Wives and Lovers, it's a standard. Hello, Dolly, The Best Is Yet to Come. The liner notes, I did a review once of liner notes, and I always pull out these liner notes by Stan Corrin, the jazz editor and jazz critic. But this is a great album. There's the tricolor label. As you know, it's a first press or early press. But this is near mint. This is fantastic. And this got me off to a big theme. And then I pulled out a jazz record based on that. And then in between, I got some things here going. This is something I haven't listened to in a while. This is a near mint copy. It's worn here. I picked it up at a yard sale, but the record is a CHRYSELIS, and it is like brand new. But this is really cool. Jack Bruce, Bill Lorden, and Robin Trower. And Bill Lorden played drums for Trower on his solo albums, I believe, like such as Bridge of Sighs, things like that. He also played for Sly and the Family Stone. And this is a really good album. Jack Bruce handles all the vocals. It's just a cool album. It charted. I believe this charted in the 30s on Billboard. But BLT, not expensive. You might find that in the dollar bin if your store has dollar bins or $2 bins. But it shouldn't be that expensive. Now here's one I haven't played in a while. This is an early pressing, but it has a barcode, so I'm not sure of the origin, 1981, so it's not an original. It might be, I'm not sure. Blue Oyster Cult. This has Burning for You on it. It has the inner. It has an inner with some ads on it from their prior albums. So this is 81, and I usually go for Blue Oyster Cult. I always reach for Don't Fear the Reaper, which is the Agents of Fortune, which is right there. See, Agents of Fortune. I usually reach for that one when I'm listening to Blue Oyster Cult. They're a New York band. They're an American band. But I picked out a few here this time just to change it up. And Burning for You was a nice surprise. I didn't even remember that was on there. Burning for You was I think a number one song on some rock charts, some rock Billboard charts. And then this is always a favorite. This is fantastic. If you don't have this album, I recommend it. This is entitled Oyster, Blue Oyster Cult. This is a self-titled. It may be their debut. I'm not really certain. I should be. I should do my research. It's a COLUBIA pressing. Right there. But great album. One of their best. I rank it up there with the early Black Sabbaths and for innovation and just sonics. Really good recording. This has a recorded at the warehouse. This is great. Really nice OG pressing. So those are the Blue Oyster Cult. Like I said, usually I'll pull Agents of Fortune because Don't Fear the Reaper is a favorite track. And if you ever get a chance, there's an entire documentary on YouTube or certain music stations, video stations that have a documentary on the making of Agents of Fortune, specifically Don't Fear the Reaper. Just unbelievable how they got that song to be, out there in like a different universe. Here's one that I received as a gift from one of my good friends out there, Jay. This was a Christmas present. Didn't even know this existed. This is a mini EP, Brian May and Friends. And the friends are Edward Van Halen, Alan Gracher, Phil Chen. Phil Chen plays bass, and Fred Mandel. And this just has 4 tracks. It's kind of a free-for-all. It's okay. I listened to it a few times. A really good recording. It's it's maybe 15 minutes aside. It's an EP only because it has 3 tracks. Blues Breaker is a big jam where Eddie and Brian are talking to each other. And there's some of the photos of the session. This is a really cool album. So if you ever see us pick it up, this is on Capitol. And I'll list all the records that I play in the description, the second page of the description on these videos. So you could I'll actually put the catalog number. I don't put the matrix, but I put the catalog number. But if anybody needs a matrix, I'll be happy to go to it and fill that out for you. That's a cool record. Not really my cup of tea. It's kind of a free for all as far as jamming, and I'm not a real shredder guy like Van Halen and Brian. I actually like Queen more than I like Van Halen, but it's a meeting of 2 giants, and Brian May has some cool. It's his baby. Brian May has some cool comments in the liner notes where they were just fooling around. It sounds so good that some of the engineers or producers, said, we have to put this out. And he was reluctant to put it out, but he did put it out. I'm sure it's not being pressed currently, but there are records online, obviously, from used record places and used record stores. We got Elvis in the house today. I have my Elvis shirt on. Follow That Dream type of thing, as you can see. Great Elvis look from the 70s. And the final record is a culmination of everything we listened to, basically. It's just a miracle record. It's one of my favorite Miles Davis records. I like this more than Kind of Blue. This record reminds me of some Santana, Caravansary, Borboletto. And Santana writes in his memoirs that this record influenced quite a bit, as did Miles himself. He was personal friends with Miles. I don't think he was personal friends with Coltrane, but he loved Coltrane. He loved Miles, and that's Bitches Brew. Now I picked this up at a yard sale, which was for $1. It's near mint. It's the digitally remastered directly from the original analog tapes, but it doesn't really sound digital to me. It sounds analog. It's one of my favorites. This is my only pressing. I did order, as you know, I ordered the One Step from Music Direct, and I made a video on how long are we going to wait for Bitches Brew. Now, I really want Bitches Brew on a One Step. A lot of them I'm not really keen on, a lot of these reissues, but that's one record that I think is going to be dynamic and sonic and, the whole 9 yards. It'll be interesting to see how they cut this up. I'm sure it's going to be a 33 and a 30, not a 45, but we'll see. One of my favorite Miles Davis records and one of my favorite records. It's just a free roundabout spiritual recording where Miles was in the center and would have the musicians in a semicircle, and I think he would point to them and they would do their thing, and then it was all kind of put together by Tio, who produced this. Tio Maceo, who was the Columbia jazz guy at the time. Let me get his spelling here for you. Tio Maceo, Teomacero. This was recorded. I'm just going to put this up here. You don't want to see me talking. 8/19 to 8/21/69, New York City. Just think, 2 days. This can never be duplicated. The way it was done. Miles has had this thing going on. On this record is Miles Davis, of course, Wayne Shorter, Lenny White, Chick Corea, Jack Jontnet, Harvey Brooks, George Alias, Dave Holland, John McLaughlin on electric guitar, also Joe Zanui, who, as you know, those two were in Weather Report. Lenny White, I'm not sure if he was in Weather Report. Chick Corea, Bernie Maupin. And Larry Young on electric piano. And here's a picture of the producer there with Davis. But Dio has to get a lot of credit for this because he put these pieces together to form this journey. It's a journey into the outer space. And if I had a Desert Island Disc, segment, I would probably, if I was thinking, I'd probably put this one out there. So Bitches Brew, great artwork, and you can see Santana actually used this artist for a few hit albums. You can see the similarities there. This is from the Columbia Jazz Masterpiece collection, and I was very lucky to get this. And the subtitle is Directions in Music by Miles Davis. Miles Davis, Bitches Brew. So, and this is what the labels look like. They're poly-lined sleeves. So there you have it. Just a little what I did last night. Please check out my other videos. I just did a review of the new Roger Waters, and I'm going to have to give that another listen to because I'm getting some questions about it from comments, which I can't answer. It's complicated. There's Waters put in new lyrics, definitely new arrangements. He let the band take over some of the tracks. He did a lot of the bass work, obviously. So there you have it. I hope you enjoy that, and I hope it spurs your interest to listen to some of these LPs. Definitely give the Brian May a try. That's not too common. Of course, the Sinatra is a standard. You've all heard that. So keep rocking. Please like and subscribe if you can. And we'll check back with you in a few days. Thank you. Keep rocking.